Hey everybody, Pat here from West Corners Custom Cycles. Welcome back to the Underground Garage. I want to welcome you back, and if you're tuning in for the first time, then hey, welcome here for the first time. As always, I want to thank all our subscribers. I want to thank you for all the comments, the likes. Keep them coming. We love the comments. I want to tell all you people, go to the comment section, read the comments, because people are leaving tidbits of information on there on bikes that you're not seeing on my videos that are actually helpful and, you know, might address the problem you're having yourselves. I want to apologize for my tardiness on getting back on this Leggero build. It's October here in New York, and everybody's trying to batten down the hatches, you know, get ready for winter. But I've got this carburetor that was taken off of the bike in the first video. It's all done. It's ready to go back on the bike. Rebuilding this carburetor, cleaning it and everything. Turned out to be like a 45-minute video, so I'm going to split it in half. First half is going to be disassembly and cleaning. Second half is going to be another video put out in probably a couple of days. And that'll be the second half of putting it all back together, adjusting and tuning it, and getting it back on the bike. All right, without further ado, let's get to the video. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, get notified anytime we're putting up a new video. All right, peace. All right, everybody, we're back with this Dellorto carburetor off the 65cc Leggero. Wanted to show you how it all came apart. I got the ultrasonic cleaner here. It's all heated up, ready to go. Got my tools here. I also wanted to show you something else. This is that petcock that came off it. I told you it was how corroded it was, and well, I'm going to show you one that's clean that I already have done. We're going to use on this project. I'll go through this one later. This is what it should look like. It's got this screen on here. It's got this nut. This nut has reverse threads right here where it goes onto the petcock. Let's see. Comes off. You can wiggle this plastic piece up off of here. Now that's what it's supposed to look like. Got a hole here and a hole in the top. Your gas level comes down to here. You run out of gas. You flip your reserve on, and you got that much gas till it gets to this next hole and runs out to get to a gas station or get a gas can. So, like I said, reverse threads. That's how that goes. Fuel line hooks up here. This is actually your on, that's off for reserve. This is your on and off just for fuel for where it comes down to up top here. That turns your fuel on, mounts in the tank like this. So this will actually be behind the petcock towards the engine. Turn it on, you let it go. When you got to flip it on to reserve, you just turn that on. That's it. When you fill it back up, turn your reserve off. When you're not riding the bike, turn that off. Always turn your fuel off. Had a friend of mine didn't do that, and his petcock didn't shut off right. Drained all his gas down into his crankcase, or a good portion of it. Thinned out all his oil. He started it up, blew up his motor riding it down the road. Just so you people out there know, always, always, always shut that off. That's the reason it's there. Now, let's see, enough talking. This is how this comes apart. It's got a center screw for the air cleaner. This is your air cleaner housing. I actually think that's Bakelite. I don't know if you know. Let me know in the comments. Alright, that's your air filter. Now this air filter is a metal air filter. It's not a paper one like you might expect. Okay, and just so you know, I've never been through this carburetor before. I've been through the ME18, which goes on the 125s for the 125 repeat build that I did, and you guys can check that out. I've actually got a video out on how to rebuild this carb and on the bike that it went on. But like I said, I've never been inside this, so we're going on this adventure together. Now, that's the cover. That's the air cleaner. You can see it's got some crud in there. We'll get that all cleaned up. It's not too horrible. And carburetor's got some crud in it also. Not too crazy horrible. We'll get it all cleaned up. That's what it looks like inside. I don't know if you can get a good look or not, but fairly clean. I'm going to try and leave this fuel line on here because it was the original fuel line. I just got to make sure that this clip here was actually, this is what's called a prime or a tickler they call it. And this was turned so that it was actually holding that down like that. So I got to make sure when I put it back on the bike, see how that popped up? That's just for priming your carburetor when you get ready to start it. Now, next thing I'm going to do is take this manifold off. I already loosened up this nut here, or bolt comes through here. It's 8mm. Everything on this is going to be metric because it was made in Italy. And now that I got that loose, these things never like to come out of here. It's got the same type of manifold on the other one, and they do not like to come out of here. That's why I went and got this. You can get her to pop out of there without too much effort. If it's not going to cooperate, I'm going to have to cut off until I get it to come out. Is it going? Yep, there she goes. All right, so that's how you're going to get that out of there. Just twist it. It'll work its way out. That's all it is, just a piece of metal, no moving parts on it. Set it off to the side. You can leave that clamp right on there. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, one thing about these carburetors that I want to tell you, and it's on the adjusting part of it. The manual does not give you a base setting for the two screws here on the side. I'll get into that when we go to put it back together. Also does not give you a base setting on the slide that goes down in here, the way to richen and lean out your gas and fuel mixture. On the top of the slide, I'll show you here, I got an exploded version of it. This is the slide that goes down inside the top of your carburetor. This here is the needle that goes down off of that. And the top of this needle, I don't know how well you can see it, there's 4 grooves. There's a clip right here. That clip goes in one of these grooves. You adjust it up and down to lean it and richen it. And I will tell you where to set all that stuff when we go to put it back together, because it does not mention it, not even in the original Harley manual. I can show you what it says in here when we get to that part, but so for right now, we're just going to get it apart and get her clean. All right, we got the manifold off. I guess next step, this is where your float is, your float housing. Way to take that apart. You got 2 screws in the top, one here and one right here. Now, when you're doing carburetor work, and I do quite a bit of it for some reason, I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it. But second screw out. I always try to keep the work area where you're doing your carburetor work, not so much when you're taking it apart because it's already dirty, you're going to clean it. But when you go to put it back together, make sure you got a good clean work area. Put some clean paper towels down, and you don't want to get any dirt back in this once you've taken it all apart. Okay, this is how this comes out. I got the 2 screws out of it. When you pull this up off of here, there is a gasket around this. Actually, that doesn't look in too bad a shape. I don't see where it's torn at all. I don't know how well you guys can see it. Now, the center hole goes right down on top of the float. I'll show you in a second. And this is that primer that I showed you. Okay, we're going to set that off to the side. Now, this, oh, it's stuck right down in there too. I have to see what I can do to get that float out of there. She does not want to come out. All right, I may have to get a pair of pliers. I'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. Now this thing seems to be glued in here with some old dried up gas in the bottom. I think I got it broke loose, so I used a pick. I went in around the sides and kind of wiggled it back and forth, and I heard a kind of a crack, and I think that was what broke the seal. Hopefully not the float, and I won't have to get another one. Okay, that's it. Welded in there with some old gas that dried out, and I don't know, well, you can see down in there. Did I get behind the camera and give you a good view? Not very well, I guess. Anyway, there's some old crusty dried up stuff in there, but we'll get it all cleaned out. Okay. Next thing, and this goes on any carburetor you're ever going to work on. These screws on the side here. You always want to know what the previous adjustment on this is before you go to take these apart. This one on the side here on this one, and I know this is factory, I'm going to tell you right now, just so. This one was out 1/4. This one was out 3 1/4. Now, I turned it in and counted them, and I know that this bike only has 1,121 miles on it. The original owner told me that nobody's ever messed with this carburetor. Has never been to the shop since they owned it, and they've owned it since day one. So, I know that's where that's supposed to be set. So make a note of that. The other setting I was going to tell you about when I put it back together, but I might as well tell you now since I'm on settings, is this needle that goes on this slide. There's 4 notches in the top of it. This is how you adjust your fuel and air mixture. The setting for this from the factory where I live, well, I guess it's their base setting, is second one from the top. So it's the same way on the Dellorto ME18 that went to the 125s and the 100. If you live in a higher elevation or a lower elevation, more down towards sea level, you might have to adjust the clip on that up or down to richen or lean it out. I guess raising the clip up and dropping the needle down a little will lean it out, and vice versa. If you raise it up, if you move the clip down and raise the needle up some, it'll richen it up. So that's how that goes. Now you know, when you go to put this back together, that's where the settings are for these, because it does not tell you. I actually looked in the factory manual, and it does not tell you where to preset this stuff, so when you get it back on the bike, you can start it and then adjust it from there. So, nuts. Now, I just noticed. See that hole? There's supposed to be one of these in it, and it's still down in there. That's not a good thing. See if I can get it up out of there. It is stuck right down in there. I may have to get another float for this. We're going to have to find out. Yeah, that does not want to come out of there. I think I'm going to take a little mineral spirits or something and let it, put it down in there, let it soak for a while. Once I get this apart, see if I can get that out of there. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how this goes. Take these screws out of here. Like I said, this one was out 1/4. This one was out 3 1/4. We're going to pull them out of here. Take them completely out. Lay them down here on the paper towel. They are a little different. Try and show you. bottom of them. The longer one goes closer to the manifold. The longer one goes in here, shorter one goes in here next to the brass fitting. This is a jet. We're going to take that out of there right now. Now, I'm going to try and show you on this. There's holes in the side of this. There's one there, one there, one there. I think there's 4 going all the way around. And it looks to be like one in the bottom also. So, you need to make sure those are good and cleaned out. They're not plugged up in any way, shape, or form. We're going to put this all down in the ultrasonic cleaner and hopefully clean all this all out real good. Now on the side of the float bowl, there's another brass fitting. And when you go to put this back together, none of these fittings, I mean obviously the ones with the springs on them, you're not going to tighten down all the way. But none of these jets, and that one, see the holes in that? Make sure these things are all cleaned out real good. One in the end. And then on the bottom of the housing, you have this. This is the jet that the needle with the 4 notches and the clips on the slide goes down into. That is a 12 millimeter. Like I said, everything on this, the bolt for the manifold, that was 8 millimeter. Everything on this is going to be metric. It's made in Italy. You know, no Hercules. There was nothing to turn that off of there. Don't lose anything. Yeah, it's kind of cruddy in there. Oh yeah. Don't know how well you can see. Probably not. I'm not going to bother. But yeah, there's some crud in there. I'll show you. That's the kind of stuff that's in there coming out. So we'll get her all cleaned out. Now, what I just took off the bottom that was 12 millimeter was just a cover. There's still another jet down in there. Now, when you go to a monkey with these brass jets, use the right size screwdriver. Because if not, you're going to strip something out and that's not going to be good. I don't want to use one too wide because I don't want to damage the threads for where that plug goes back in here. Okay. Get them out of there. See if I can push it down through from the top side. She's going. Caught up on all the crud in there. This ought to work. Get yourself one of these tools if you're going to be doing a lot of carburetor work. They use them for cleaning out the tips on oxygen acetylene torches. It's actually a small set of files. They're great for cleaning out the jets on these things. There's multi sizes, and they do a real good job. That noise is my phone. I turned the ringer off, but I didn't take it off of vibrate, so it's over there vibrating. Really? It doesn't want to cooperate. Okay. It'll be all like that, huh? killing me, Smalls. It does not want to come out of there. I think it's got a rubber O-ring on it, and that's what's holding me up. Let me see if I can grab it with these pliers and pluck it out of there. Wow, that was just stuck in there with crud. You can see it there on my finger, but it's a good thing we're pulling this apart. That might even be why this thing never started again when her brother wiped it out. He might have kicked up all the dirt in the bottom of the carburetor, it sucked it into the carb and never ran again. But we're going to fix that problem. Alright, that's it. Stripped down, ready to go. Now, what you want to do, I'm going to obviously have to get that pin out that goes to the float. There should be a pin on both sides of that. I'll get that out, see if I can save this. If not, I got to get a new one. The rest of this, you want to go through. See the holes here? There's a little brass fitting there. Any of the jets that you see down through here, any of the holes that any of the brass jets went into or the adjustment screws went into, you want to take your tool, find the right size wire file. Don't aug them out, don't shove anything in there that, you know, make it go in there. You just want it to go through nice and easy and clean. I'm going to clean out this air cleaner here, make that better, and everything else, including the body of this. Not a lot to it, you know. We got what, half a dozen things here. 2 of them are screws to hold in the cap, so that doesn't matter. You got 5, 6 pieces in the body. Actually, this air cleaner being metal, I'll probably just throw that right in there too. Do not put plastic, do not put gaskets, which reminds me, there's a gasket that goes right around here in this groove. Take that out. You don't want to put any gaskets in there because you don't know what the cleaning solution is going to do to them. What I use is pretty mild. It's a simple green and water, so it's not too awful crazy. Yeah, I don't know if I can dig that out of there without ruining it. So I'm going to throw it in there. If it survives, great. If it ruins it, well, then I have to get another one, if and when I have to get another float. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, I'm going to poke out these holes and stuff, get everything in this ultrasonic cleaner. Mine's heated. It only runs for 5 minutes at a time. This isn't too horrible, so usually it's 1 or 2 soaks and it's good to go, and I can get back to putting it all back together. But I will see you when we go to get it back together. Not too much else on this. This is the lid that went into the top of the float. I'm going to pull this screw, just goes through to a hole here. I just want to make sure any dirt that's in there is all cleaned out. You want to make sure the inside of your carburetor, when you're doing carburetor work, is absolutely as squeaky clean as you can possibly keep it and get it. You want no dirt in there for whatever reason. I'm even going to take, I said I wanted to keep this all original, and I am going to, but I'm actually going to take a little piece of hose and hook it onto the petcock. Boom, boom. And I'm going to put an inline fuel filter on it into the old line. I got a smaller one of these. I'm not going to use that big one. But anyway, so that way, anything in the tank, anything else that might come through, you know, to get into this carb is going to get caught and not get there. All right. I'm knocking off. I'll see you guys in a little while. All right, people, something else I got to show you here that I forgot to show you when I was taking this apart. This is the top part of the float bowl. I told you the pin on the float bowl. Pin on the float goes up in this hole. This is the fuel line coming down in. Now, if you take this screw off here, That noise is the ultrasonic cleaner. I got the body of the carburetor in there already. But this separates out. And you'll see there's a gasket on there, right there. Now, inside here, there's another little screen, just like the one that was on the petcock. Let's see if I can get it out of here without destroying it. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll have to get it out and show it to you when it's out. But it's a fine little screen. It's like one of these, but about that tall, from there to there. And that's also a fuel filter for gas coming out of the tank into your carburetor. There's also this one in the up in the tank on the petcock. And I'm going to stick another inline fuel filter in there. So between the three of them, it should keep dirt out of there. But all right, I just wanted to show you. You might be able to see how much all the crud that's in there. But all right, I'm going to get this apart, get that screen out of there, and we'll get everything cleaned up. All right, see ya. All right, people, I got it out. That's it. Slides right up in here. Filters anything coming through there. It's a fine little screen. It's all clogged up. I am going to throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner because it's shot as it is. And if the ultrasonic cleaner ruins it, oh well, it was already shot. If it cleans it out, then hey, amen, I'll reuse it. Alright. Okay, I'll get back to you when all this is all cleaned up now.